Hello everyone! It's been a while since my last video, so I'm very excited to come back and show you how I made this Venom bust cake. Grab a pen and paper, get ready to take some notes. I'm going to show you how I went about creating this beautiful cake, and let's go right into it, shall we? As always, I'd like to start with a little bit of inner structure, making sure the cake is nice stable from the get-go. I have added a flange and PVC pipe. For more details on how to do this, you can watch some of my previous videos where I go into more details. This will be kind of like a quick walkthrough of the Venom cake. I utilize aluminum foil because it's less heavy and it also provides the support that I need without having to spend, let's say, more money on chocolate to create a skull, for example, like some of my previous projects. I use aluminum foil to create the shape of the head, aluminum foil tape to keep everything together, and I have added some wire to the bottom and top part of what will be the mouth of Venom. This particular cake, it's a little bit more challenging because of course the mouth is open and we want to make sure that the chocolate has a stable area to stick to without us fearing that anything is going to fall apart if there is, let's say, movement or change in temperature within your cake. I am trying to make sure that at this point my proportions look good based on my reference picture. I'm also making sure that things are not to the size that the final cake will be in. For example, you don't want to create the actual jaw line out of the wire to be the exact same dimension that the final cake will have. Let's say, for example, the width of the jaw for the cake is 5 inches as an example. You want to make sure this particular step is not to the 5 inches because you will add modeling chocolate, and of course this modeling chocolate would take space. I created the eyes out of isomalt. As you could see, I'm not going into too much detail on this particular tutorial, but what I did is I created a shape with some of my isomalt, and because the face or head rather is round, I want to make sure that my isomalt eye is also round. You cannot have a flat element kind of rest on a round base. So I just took my torch and little by little gave the eye a little bit of roundness so that I could utilize it in the head. Now that I have covered all of the head with aluminum foil tape, I'm going to add red for the inside of the mouth to be covered all throughout. I want to make sure none of the aluminum foil shows. And I also want to make sure that I start working on this part first because let's say I started working on the outside and created the jaw, the upper mandible, the mouth all together, the head. It'll be kind of challenging to put my fingers through without damaging what I already worked on. So always good to start from the inside out. And I want to make sure I put enough chocolate to cover the inside and to have space for what will be the gums, where I'll be placing some modeling chocolate made teeth. So I'll take my time making sure I add everything that I need at this point, and again making sure you always look at your reference pictures to kind of help you gauge how much chocolate you're gonna need, the dimensions, and so on. As you can see here, I added the chocolate to the inside of the mouth. I also added the gums, and I pre-planned where I want to put the teeth on the entire mouth. So I want to make sure that these are nice and dried out before I put the modeling chocolate teeth so things don't move around too much. Next, I worked on the jaw line. I like to start with the jaw of any of my bust cakes because it gives you a nice reference point to then kind of figure out the other things that need to be added in terms of dimension, making sure that things look cohesive, that it's still making sense based on the picture reference that I have, and so on. Then I added the top part of the chocolate that will be the head. It's kind of reptilian looking, so adding a little bit of a dome shape to the top, and then again that helped me continue to add on the chocolate based on my dimensions. As you can see, I added the eyes, I added the teeth. The teeth are simply made out of modeling chocolate that I shaped into fangs. It really has all teeth are fangs. And basically I just took a little brush with water, wetted the hole where the teeth were to be placed, and I just placed them onto it and let it dry. In here you can see I added also the tongue. The tongue is made out of modeling chocolate. I just shaped it, put some paper towel under it so it would dry with the shape that I wanted it to be like at the end. And before it dried, I did add some texture lines so it would look a little bit more realistic. And then I covered the entire head with some edible glaze to give it that nice shine that Venom has, since he's that reptilian looking thing. Now I'm gonna add the cake, and this particular cake is vanilla cake with vanilla buttercream and some lemon curd, and I do believe some layers have some strawberry compote that I put in as well. And as you can tell, I removed the tongue, and you can see the little, I used a wooden skewer to secure it inside the mouth, but I wanted to take it out because I didn't want to damage it by moving around and putting the cake and shaping the cake to the final look for this particular character. And then I went on to shape what I needed the cake to look like. I crumb coated and finished the cake with white chocolate ganache. Now I did add some additional proportions with some clay pop just to give it a little bit of dimension and help me with the shape. This particular cake, I didn't need it to be too huge because it was only for a few servings that the client needed it for, and so I went on and worked with what servings I needed and also trying to fulfill the final look of Venom. Very strong, exaggerated features. So whatever else I needed to highlight, I went ahead and added additional modeling chocolate, making sure I cover the gap between the cake and the head with additional modeling chocolate, which is the neck area, highlighting some of those muscles, and I guess you would call them tendons and veins. And lastly, I smoothed out the modeling chocolate so it looked cohesive, and then I added some details with some lines to portray the veins and added some white food coloring for the veins to pop out. And then you have it, a beautiful Venom bust cake, shiny, super realistic looking, and a gravity defying tongue to add to the effect. If you really enjoyed this tutorial, please think about subscribing to my channel. It's free and it'll help me a ton. I hope to bring you much more tutorials in the near future. Let me know in the comments down below what you would like me to create next, and I will see you next time. Again, I appreciate your support. I appreciate you watching the video. Until next time, ciao.